Blog Talk Radio.
We welcome the night.
Oasis, a radio show where we discuss the shittiest movies ever and talk about horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host, Ian. Ian, are you there and kicking?
Brain no work well.
Well, it's that time of year. It's St. Patrick's Day. And for some reason, last year came a movie from someone that, all of 2020 we had our marathon shows, and we had some films directed by Louisa Warren. And since then, she kind of became a cultural movie icon for B-movie stuff that we review on the show, and just we took a sort of a liking to her. I don't know if that's going to help out by tonight's standards, because we're probably going to change our minds pretty heavily with this one, and we're going to go ahead and say that this film's shit. But we'll get into the finer details very soon. But yeah, so last year she created a film called The Leprechaun's Game, and it was not good, but there was something about it where it was dumb, and you kind of had fun with it a little bit, even though it was bad and it had a lot of problems. But for some reason, with everything going on in the world, pandemic, all that stuff, she managed to make something stupid, and that was like a little bit of fun, and it had like one of the greatest end scenes ever with the leprechaun coming down on the chairlift. And that is still the greatest thing that we've witnessed on the show. And then you take that, and then you give us the sequel a year later. And I learned this after we went off air when we reviewed Leprechaun's Game, and found out that there's a sequel and it's already completed. And holy fuck, I was like, she did Tooth Fairy 3, and then Dr. Carver, and then this, and then I'm assuming there's another one in post-production right now. Leprechaun, Game, Curse, I don't know, Leprechaun Ends. fuck, I don't know. Let's rip off Halloween. No, but seriously, so we're here a year later, and we're, as you can tell, we're so anxious for this. Part of me was, and then it hit me early on, because at least the first act of Leprechaun's Game, it was just kind of stupid, and okay, where are we going? And it just had all these faults where I was it was stupid, it was bad, and I was having fun because it was just so out there and just so stupid, just all this stuff going on. And this one just, fuck, man. I mean, seriously, I don't care about cursing and spoilers. This is going to be one of those reviews. This is this almost hit 8-Ball Clown territory for me, because there was just so much wrong and things happening in the film that just did not make sense. And I was just, to a point, as I mentioned to you before we went live, I was about to bash my head in, but I didn't want to lose what brain cells I had left that was already lost. You know, they're hanging on for dear life, saying, please don't, I want to live. And somehow I made it through that fucking 90 minutes of fucking hell. And honestly, I mean, it's bad. All right, there's a lot of things we'll get into, and I just have to make this point first. Like, it's bad. There's no hiding it. Like, with her other films, there's at least some little thing here and there that we're like, okay, this is fine, that's okay, we get the idea. You know, like Mermaid's Curse, we weren't fans of it, but there was this general idea there, and the whole freaking thing with the mermaids being part of the Salem witch trials, it was interesting. It was okay. It wasn't the most well-made. And then, of course, all the other stuff that she made after that, there was, like, copy-paste of, like, all the other stuff that we've reviewed, and I've seen of her stuff. And this one, you know, I was hoping maybe they still go for a little bit of the campy stuff and do a little bit of fun with it, and it was too fucking serious. And they did not know. I think she wrote this, and she didn't, like, directly after finishing the script for Game or something. I don't know what the fuck happened here, but, like, there was no room to breathe. Like, for some reason, she forgot, like, how Leprechaun's Game ended, because this one picks up without any fucking continuation. Like, her character is still alive. Like, 20 minutes into the movie, you find out anything more about her. I think it was, like, Misty or something. I forgot her name. I don't care. But, like, at the end of Leprechaun's Game, she was there screaming because the Leprechaun was still alive, and he was coming down on the chairlift to come to get her. So you would think it'd, like, continue on from that point, that point. And no, like, I don't even know if it's a year. It has to be a year later or a few months later, because she was pregnant, and now she has a baby that's like a couple months old. I mean, it was a fake baby, but it was a baby, you know. And so, like, honestly, they did not fucking try with this one. They did not fucking try. At least with Game, there was a little bit of, like, trying to make a movie. This one, I have no idea what they were going for. I have no fucking clue. This is one of the hardest things I had to sit through on this show, like, right up there with 8-Ball, where I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Because every fucking minute there was something happening. Like, this doesn't make sense. What's the fucking plot of this movie? Who is this? You know, what is going on? Who's that character? Oh, it's the babysitter? Why is the babysitter in the random house, in the pool guest house? You know, like, what's that? Like, oh, you touched my gold. Oh, I'm sorry, here, take my gold. Oh, that's not good enough. Then why is it good enough? Not good enough now. When it's later, it's good enough. There's just so many fucking inconsistencies in this motherfucking movie, and it's fucking, there's scenes missing that doesn't even, oh my God, Ian, I guess I have to get into this motherfucker. I can just fucking rant and rant and rant. This is just one of those films.
No, like, it really does feel like there's, like, pieces missing. Like, she accidentally edited them out.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into it. There's a big one at the end there where I messaged you early on when I was watching it this afternoon, and I was just like, what am I missing? Where is this? Why is this happening? It's just, there's so much shit wrong with this movie. And, again, I have good intentions with Louisa, but this might be her worst that we reviewed. I mean, honestly. I mean, as bad as Game was, and a few of her other ones, you know, this one hurt. This one literally hurt. And it is beyond belief how fucking horrible this thing is. They weren't even trying with anything. The plot is beyond stupid and doesn't make any fucking sense. And again, I'm assuming, it was shot back-to-back and finished right after I'm assuming after Game was completed. And so there was, like, no time for it to breathe. And so, like, either she went into a fucking coma for 2 months and forgot the events of the first film. I have no idea. And again, I'm assuming she's a nice lady. I mean, I'm assuming. All right. There's just so much wrong with this film, and I hate to be that way with this because again, as much as I kind of had fun with Game, this one there's just nothing redeemable about this film. It is awful. It is just bad, and it's just not in a film technical standpoint. It's bad. In script, dialogue, writing is atrocious. There, as I've mentioned before, scenes are missing. There's literally characters that just disappear. And then other characters having the items that character had randomly show up. Plots don't make sense with the Leprechaun. Now he has magical powers, whereas the first one you didn't know, until he shoots green mist from his hands towards the end there, and then the whole fucking pendant ordeal is fucking oh my god, the pendant. Oh god, we'll get into that. All right, so Ian, we gotta compose ourselves because we'll be ranting soon enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to keep this fucking intro short. Okay, so we start the film off. We don't even know who it is at first, but it's a real estate agent, a stockbroker. I don't fucking know until later on when it gets brought up. It's just this random character and in this house, all right, this big house. And he goes in there. Apparently the gold of the Leprechaun is in the fireplace safe. There's like a literal safe with the fireplace, and so that's where the gold is. Even though I don't know how it is there. There's no fucking plot there. It's hey, gold is in this. I don't know how after the events of the first one, even though he has his gold, but no, it's there. And so this guy, we find out later in the film that it's the main character, the lead female's brother. And again, after this, I thought it was her fucking dad. When the film starts, like, oh, the dad died. Like, so the dad was the one that got killed by the Leprechaun? But it's like, no, it's her brother, and half-brother, that is. And he gets killed by the Leprechaun because he has the gold. And he has magical powers. And so now we're introduced to Tilly, who finds out that she's inherited the house that her dad died in, or what, I don't know fucking reason. And apparently this is the house that's like next door to where Louisa's character lived or something. I have no idea. I have no idea how Louisa is working at this house as a maid. Like, there's no reason. It's just like, oh, there she is. Somehow she didn't die at the end of the game, and she has a baby now. So again, I don't know, year or so later, because she was just pregnant at the end of the first one. So I guess again, a year. Don't make that point. It's not important to the fucking audience to know we're a year later after the events of the first film. So she cleans up the house. She's a maid, and so Tilly and her boyfriend Ben decide that they're going to get everybody and they're going to go look at the house that she inherited. So it's going to be her stepmother Linda, Jane, and Sadie. And Jade and Ben sort of have like this little fling going on later on in the film. It doesn't fucking matter. And then Sadie's there for some fucking reason. No, it doesn't fucking matter. And so so they go to the house and they're all in the pool. And they're having a pool party, and then the one girl takes a picture of them in the pool, and somehow, magically, before the fucking gold shows up, the Leprechaun puts a picture in a little small envelope, like those little answering machine cassettes, like the size of that, a little tiny small envelope that size, on her towel, and then put text beside the towel so she would step on it before the gold shows up. And then they take the picture, and then she looks on the phone like, oh, what's that shining? Oh, what's that shining in the pool there? I don't know. It could be a reflection of the light above the pool. It could not be. It's a fucking gold. It's a piece of gold. And so she goes like, oh, it's a piece of gold. Look what I found. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, there could be more. Here, hold this. She goes down. She finds another gold. And then she gets out of the fucking pool, she finds the little note and the picture with her face crossed out and says, "Thief, how dare you? I'm going to get it back." You put that there before she even took anything, so you planned this whole motherfucking thing. You set everything up, you dumbass leprechaun. You don't, and then you're angry that they took the gold. Don't put it there in the first place. And it's like everything that the leprechaun's doing, just fucking, it's pointless. Like, oh, you took my gold. You put it there, you dumbass.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just sitting there. I was like, I think the leprechaun is doing this on purpose.
And then the babysitter that's in the pool hall, the pool house, guest house, she opens up the drawers open. She sees the gold coins in there. Oh, that's interesting, a gold coin. I don't know whose it is. I'll take it. And then she goes out there, and the leprechaun starts chasing her. I want me gold. And they're like, here, take it. Oh, you thought you could get away by doing it that easy? How dare you? And like, what are you doing, leprechaun? She does that, and then I don't fucking care about spoilers. At the very end, they do the same fucking thing. Oh, I got my gold. I don't want anything else. Oh, you sure? How have you ever kissed a girl? Like, oh, how crazy is it that I'm gonna kiss a girl? And like, oh my god, what the fuck? Like, so earlier it doesn't fucking matter if you give him the gold, but at the end it does, and it doesn't fucking do anything. Like, oh, I'm not gonna kill you and your mom anymore. You gave me back my bag of gold. Earlier he had here's two. Has nothing to do with it. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Like, oh, fuck you, you're dead. I'm gonna fucking choke you to death with my magical powers of green mist.
This movie is a mess.
Yes.
It really is a mess. Like, an 8-year-old wrote a more cohesive movie than this. And
so Louisa Warren's character, she has a baby, and basically it turns, again, I don't care if I'm going all over the place with this film, because this film goes all over the place, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So we're going to go all over the place with it. So Louisa Warren's character, apparently the safe where the gold coins were, there was a pendant, and she's wearing the pendant, and it has a gold 4-leaf clover in it, right? And so she, in a flashback, because the brother apparently knew about this, and so putting the gold coins in the safe with the pendant over it would stop the leprechaun, right? Or something. I don't know. I don't know what the point is.
Yeah, I was very confused.
Pendant over the safe to keep the gold coins there, because once the pendant's gone, the leprechaun comes and he takes the gold coins. I'm like, okay, so he has the gold coins. He's not going to hurt anybody because he has his gold coins. But apparently he's after the pendant. But then, like, why is all the other gold coins strung through the fucking house, and then the pool, and then the chest? Why is the gold coins everywhere? He's leaving them there because he's setting all this shit up as a plan because he wants to kill people for some fucking reason. But anyway, so she has the pendant on, and she's trying to get away with her baby, right? And she said, and the leprechaun saying, I want the pendant. And like, I took the pendant because I'm trying to protect myself from you. Like she's like, it's so fucking on the nose and literal. Like, it's a plot point. And they're like literally telling, like, I took this to protect myself. Now you want it? And so she takes the pendant off and gives it to him, right? Or it falls, or something like that. Or she still has it on. I think she still has it on because, like, she disappears later. The body just magically disappears and it's laying there, right? And so the leprechaun takes her soul and she disappears. That plot point from the first film at the end of it, it is fucking gone. All right, there's no reason for even her character to be in this film at all because there serves no purpose for her character at all. They should have just killed her off. Continuation of as soon as the film started, killed her off because there's no reason. And so the leprechaun takes her soul, puts it in a little bottle, like a little sand bottle, a little holy water bottle, whatever, and puts it in a little, put a little stopper on there, a little green soul, and then he looks in the back seat and says, "I'll come back for you when you're old enough, baby," And like, I think, did he have the voiceover in the first Leprechaun game? I swear it was the actor doing the voice in the first
It
film.
was.
And so
this was more of a. It sounded like they were trying to do Darth Vader. Maybe I don't know. Like, I was also thinking that, but I also barely remember the first movie, just like except for like a couple of scenes, because I felt like it was pretty forgettable. In this movie, I pretty much was forgetting it as I was watching it.
Yeah, because there's nothing here. There's literally, it's just fuck. There's no reason. It's just a cash grab. Like, she made a movie. Like, the first one, like, okay, I can understand it. Like, all right, whatever. Go out there and do what you want to do.
Yeah, there was no rhyme or reason for this one.
There was, because the story is non-existent. It's just them walking around the house. They find a picture with a little small envelope. Like, how dare you? How dare you all? Who's doing this? Stop playing games. And then it's like, then the boyfriend goes into the room with the other two friends and his love interest affair chick. They're like, all right, guys, is it one of you? Like, no, it's not one of us. It could be one of them. Like, do you think they're going to do that? Like, yeah, sure, why not? But anyway, the pendant. I have to go back to this fucking pendant. So they get the pendant, Louisa Warren. You know, I got this to protect myself from you. It doesn't help. It kills her, right? Later on, you know, the girl, Tilly, finds it, and then she puts it on. For some reason, she puts it on, like, in the next scene after she finds it. Like, I wonder where the mother went with the baby. You know, like, the baby's here, it's crying, what happened? And how they heard that baby from that far in the backyard, the baby's in the car. Like, they were in the backyard. And, like, yo, you hear that? A lot of that was like, what's that noise? You hear that? What was that? And then they just go looking, waddling off, just peering off in no direction whatsoever. Oh, God, there's another thing I got to get into. There's just so much. I don't even know if I have enough time to cover it. So she puts the pendant on in the next scene. And then in that very same scene, like, oh, I got to go check out Ben or something. And then she takes the pendant off and lays it on the counter. And so now it's on the kitchen counter. We don't see the pendant ever again until it's freaking back in her fucking pocket at the end of the movie, I think. So somehow she put it back in her pocket. No justification of picking it up. She just has it. And so that's when she goes and she sees Ben and the I forgot her name, Jane, making out. And, like, they find, like, again, every character finds the pictures. Like, who's taking these pictures? So the little leprechaun's going around with a fucking Polaroid camera shooting pictures. I mean, apparently they don't see him because, like, if they were in the pool and he was, like, right there at the corner of the pool, like, they're fucking blind as bats, you know? And so I don't even know where the film goes after this point, but it's just nonchalant shit happening. Oh, they find the four-leaf clovers in the thing, and then a bunch of characters just walk around aimlessly in a building, you know, from here to there, no reason. The leprechaun kills Jane by taking a shoe and bashing it in her face, causing her eye to pop out, and then he steps on her eyeball, which is probably like the only thing redeemable about this fucking movie, was that scene. And they're just standing there staring out the window like the fucking characters and breeders just watching the women in the milk bath lather up. It's just like nothing. It's like no emotion. No emotion. It's like the fucking characters from Dinosaur Hotel with, like, the kids, like, they're being chased by raptors, and they're just, like, showing no emotions whatsoever. Oh, God. So they run, and so here's the thing. So they leave the baby upstairs underneath a chair, wrapped up. Like, the baby's fine, just under a chair on the floor. Ian, is that a good idea? To put a baby there, just on the floor.
Oh yeah, I do it all the time.
Yeah,
just here you go.
Just put the baby there and put a chair over top of it, like this little chain. Hide the baby, like. So anyway,
if they can hear the baby from the backyard, that baby isn't going to be hidden very well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's already in the whatever. I don't care. I'm trying to get through this so we can rant. Because I got to hit all the points. So they get up and hide from the leprechaun. Tilly and her stepmom go into the room, and they open the door as wide as can be and look at the leprechaun as he's not turning around to look at the other door. We're like, hey, there could be behind me. But no, he's looking at the one door that the Sadie went into, and she's hiding behind a hole in the wall with a chair. And then the leprechaun finds her and then makes her either get many paper cuts or she's coughing up more envelopes. I have no idea what the fuck was going on there. And then she just choked to death.
He just shoved it in her mouth, barely put it in her mouth, and that caused her mouth to I was very confused by that because I even had to rewind it a couple of times because it happened so fast, and I was like, okay, did I just miss something, or did he just barely put that in the mouth? Because when he lets go, they just fall out, and they don't even pour out; they just plop out. And I was like, that wasn't not even enough time to or deep enough to choke them. I was like, this death was stupid. This is just a because death.
So anyway, she chokes to death on the many envelopes that just sprout out of her mouth. And then he decides, a shoe for my shoe collection, and he gets an axe that was magically there in that room somehow, it just magically teleported, and cuts off her feet. And then in the next scene, you have him walking down steps, and there's no severed foot in the shoes. There's no blood on the shoes. There's a perfectly good pair of perfectly white sneakers with no severed foot inside of it. He's just shallantly walking down the steps. And then, okay, so here's the next thing. So they go, this is the main part, and then we'll get into everything else about it. Hopefully we'll have enough time. They're in the shed, and they find, the 4-leaf clovers, and they find the rest of the bag of gold that was in a box underneath the 4-leaf clovers. So they leave that there. The mom's going to go back for the baby, right? And that's the whole point. That's where he sees the shoes holding him down. The leprechaun knocks the mom out. Then he gets the Tilly, and so both of them are tied up in the kitchen on chairs, and he starts hitting them "Where's me gold?" and stuff like that. And then you cut to Ben, the boyfriend, and the one scene. We got to do this, Ian. So Ben and Joan are in the pool making out, right? And then Tilly walks in and I knew it, you bastards. I knew you two were kissing. And he says, I'm sorry, I can explain. Please give me one more chance. I need you in the kitchen. That's when they find the baby, stuff like that. And so that's just swept under the rug now. Okay, he's kissing another girl. But anyway, I digress. He the next time you see him, he sees it. He walks in and the mom's holding the baby. Is that a baby? And I'm yeah, it's a fucking baby. But anyway, I'm all over the place. So the next time you see him, he's in the shed, and he finds the bag of coins, right, the gold coins, and then he magically just knows that Tilly and her mom are trapped in the kitchen, tied by chairs, being tortured by a leprechaun, because he walks directly in there, hey, leprechaun, look what I got. And so he runs to the pool area, again, the where into a side room or something, where and he has the bag of coins. He literally has the bag of coins. And then the next thing you know, there's a silhouette of the leprechaun behind him coming up. And that's the last that you see of Ben. You don't see Ben anymore. He is gone from the film. So the stepmom and Tilly get loose from the chairs, and they run. And they're running, and they get to this weird storage container thing, box, and then the leprechaun shows up. And then he says, I want me gold, and here, take your bag of gold. How the fuck did Tilly get the bag of gold? Where did it come from? She just pulled it from her ass. Literally, she's just here, take your gold. Where's Ben? There was nothing. That's a scene that's completely missing from the film. There's no rhyme or reason to find out how she got that bag of gold and gave it to the leprechaun. So she gives it to the leprechaun, and he says, okay, I'm not going to bother you guys anymore. I got my gold. I'm out, basically. That's what he was going to do. So, again, everything else that led up to it, like when he was getting gold, even in the original Leprechaun's game, oh, I got my gold. I'm going to kill you anyway. This time he has his bag of gold. All right, I'm out. Peace. And then they egg it on, like, you sure you don't want anything else? And then she pulls out the four-leaf clover pendant, right? And then she puts it in her mouth. And how they killed the leprechaun in the first film is they made him smoke a four-leaf clover pipe. That's how they killed him in the first one.
That's how he pulled out of their ass.
Yeah, they pulled out of their ass at the very last minute. And so she puts the four-leaf clover pendant in her mouth and then proceeds to kiss the leprechaun and, I guess, switch it into his mouth or something. I don't know. You barely see it. And so, anyway, it kills him. It makes him poof, no more. And so what was the point of going after Louisa Warren and wanting the pendant if it kills you? What was the point? What? It doesn't make sense. Like, why would you want it? She literally says, I'm wearing this to protect myself from you. So it obviously hurts you. As we see, it causes you to disappear. But anyway, the Tilly and the mother just keep the gold, and then they get killed off towards, I guess, at the end. I don't know. There's a sequel probably in the works with the baby when it's, like, grown up now. I don't know. I have no idea. This movie is awful. This movie was a fucking mess of a film with so many problems that it was just excruciating. Just everything that was going. The dialogue, like I said earlier, dialogue awful. Hardly any script. I'm assuming there was, but it was bad. All right.
Yeah.
Plot points making no sense. Characters just randomly disappearing. Items randomly showing up. Not knowing exactly what does what at any certain moment. Maybe this time it hurts you. This time it doesn't. I want my gold, I'm going to kill you, now I won't. A mess, and it was just awful. Like, God, Ian, this was bad. There's no way to...
I had low expectations, and it actually went underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I expected... This was probably one of the most incoherent movies I think I've watched for the show. Like, it really, really made no sense. There, just their own lore was tossed out the window. And there's just like in the first movie, like some time had passed by the end of the movie, because they had time to sell the gold and buy a house and blah, blah, blah. And, so some time had passed. And I was like, okay, maybe the leprechaun comes back after so, long. But he literally comes back in, like, almost the same fucking day, it seemed like. Or a week or a month later or something.
Yeah, and, like, the other ones, like, again, like, he's wanting his gold, but the other ones never, like, touch it. It's Tilly that picks it up, right? And, like, Sadie never touches it. And, like, all these people are, like, I love the fact, again, the very first time when you see the little envelope and you open it up, and it's her stepbrother, Tilly's stepbrother, like, warning, you are a thief. Like, now you're writing little warning messages on your own messages to whoever picks it up. It's just like... This is one weird-ass leprechaun. He's traveling with Polaroid cameras.
Right.
He doesn't know his own capabilities at any given point, or his own demise of what can hurt him. He sets up traps, but yet is angry at his own traps because people end up taking what he sets up. Like, you don't even know the ploy or anything to understand your reasoning behind anything. Like, oh, I'm going to set out a trap. Oh, I'm angry now that you took what I set up, and I'm going to kill you over it. Like, what's the fucking point? Like, there's just so much.
Yeah, no, like, because
like,
that's the only other explanation of why the gold was where it was. Because there's nothing, like, when the guy gave him back his gold, honestly, that should have been it. I was expecting him to collect it, and then, like, how the first movie was, with some treasure hunters going seeking out the gold, and they found a new location, or blah, blah, blah. But no, I was like, what? I was like,
this
first
doesn't even
off,
make sense. Like, how
the guy
Tilly's family is cursed. Like, how is her family cursed?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even show anything about the dad. Like, who's the dad? How did he get the gold? Was it the dad, the guy who collected things in the first film? Is that her dad?
Yeah, and
you don't make no point.
Yeah, and like with the Leprechaun getting his gold back at the beginning of the movie, but then yet it's still in the safe with a pendant that he can't touch. Yet he takes the pendant from. It's literally all over the place. Like, I had no idea what was going on. I was like, wait, I thought he had his gold. The gold was in the safe, but yet in the pool, and yet, what? Oh, and there's a second box of gold? What? It's like, I just thought the Leprechaun had to ingest the 4-leaf clover. Not that it protects you. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was
and like
very
it was
confused.
in a fucking glass case too. Like it's a pendant. It's inside a gold case or whatever it is. It's like one of those snapshot pendants. So it's obviously not actually touching him when he's put in his mouth. It's the gold.
Yeah.
It's not the pendant. The 4-leaf clover nowhere touches him. If you consider that logic, it shouldn't hurt him because it's encased.
Yeah, and there's just so many inconsistencies that, like, that's the only thing you can count on in this movie, was that there was going to be inconsistencies in the story. That, and it was just, I can handle, the cause, like, so much, but this went beyond just because. This was I don't know. Let's just add it.
Yeah, like I don't know what was going on. Like again, like if we're comparing it to the game and other Louisa Warren stuff, I mean, again, I haven't seen all of it. I haven't seen Dr. Carver yet. It could be even worse. Who knows?
I'm scared.
Yeah, but this Leah's game, like I mentioned earlier, has parts where you could laugh at it and sort of enjoy the stupidness of everything. Like, oh, I found the gold randomly in the fucking woods. We're gonna go here beside this church. Everything just like it was stupid. This one, like, oh, I found the gold, guys. Oh, we're gonna sell it. There's just a lot of things with game that was just it was inconsistent and things that didn't work. But there was a little bit of like a little joy that I got out of it, especially at the end. This one, there's nothing. It is too straightforward. It tries way too hard, and it is so inconsistent and so misconstrued and not following its own rules that it set up. I mean, it already did that in the first one, but this one they went to the nth degree and just like cranked it up to like, you know what? Who fucking cares? We're going to fucking delete scenes and not make any sense of this fucking movie. We're just going to have characters randomly disappear and people plot points that don't add up to other things in the film. I mean, I'm sure there's a few other things in here that I'm just forgetting because it's just one of those films where just like it's dumb. Like there's just so much inconsistency to this film, and it was rough. I mean, to get through without just like stopping every couple minutes. It was boring as well. It was very dull because nothing happens. Nothing fucking happens. At least the first one.
Even
like,
when it does happen, nothing happens. Like the action scenes are still like not even good. Like, they just, I'm going to shove this paper barely in your mouth, barely past your teeth, and you're going to bleed to death or something from that.
And what was
somehow.
What was the first one? He killed the brother by shoving, like, oh, you like gold coins, and so he makes him throw up gold coins or something. So, like, or something like that, I guess. I don't know. But it was
I don't know. I was very confused by what was going on.
Yeah, honestly, there's no sense to this movie. Like,
and the first one, it felt more like a slasher film, and this one just felt like.
And also, having the Leprechaun in daytime was the worst thing they could have done, because everything looks awful. At least with Game, everything was in the dark. You couldn't see the fucking mask outline and all the paint underneath and his mouth open. At least with Game, they kept that sort of hidden. This one, it's all daytime, all the time, and it makes at least in the first one, like the suit, you could just sort of see that it was like sort of green. But no, this is a fucking old man from like the fucking like 70s wearing a suit coat as the Leprechaun. Like, this is the worst looking thing there is. At least they kind of hid that fact in the first one. It looked awful in this.
Yeah, and I played the trailer for the first one for my wife, and I was like, this is the movie I watched, and I'm watching the sequel to that today, and her takeaway from it was when he says "Magold," and she was like, the makeup looks awful, and I was like, yeah, it does. And then I was watching the sequel, like, because I mostly watched the trailers for a recap, just because I forgot half of the movie in the first one, and I was like, wow, they did a worse job this time than they did the last time. I was like, there's just
and they don't have no church to go
movie.
to either, so they only had one house. I'm sure it's one of the person's house that they actually lived in. Like, can we film here because of lockdown? Like, yeah, sure, because they didn't go anywhere else.
No, and like they were just. It just felt like the Scooby Gang was just running around when when the monster chases them, and then they go through all those doors, and that's just what I felt like this whole movie was just a really elongated sequence of that, and it was just, oh my god.
Yeah, this one hurt. This was probably, again, I haven't seen all of them. Even her fucking copy and paste films like Bride of Scarecrow and Tooth Fairy. I mean, and everything else, the Krampus movies and Scarecrow movies she did. Nothing beats, Pagan Warrior is still her best, I think, between me and Ian that we've seen so far. I mean, it could change when we see her other films if we go back. I know I'll watch them.
I'm probably.
Ian's already wanting to choke me for making him watch this one.
That's why
I'm amazed I'm still alive.
Watch this.
I'm amazed you didn't travel down and come here to my door and just like, hey, I'm going to shove something down your throat.
I'm on baby duty. I can't do that.
Yeah, I know.
You're saved by the baby.
Well, yeah, just put a chair over top of him and he'll be fine.
It's like it was so funny because I was watching it and she kept like trying to pull the blanket back up over the baby's face.
I thought you were going to put him in the safe. I thought you were going to put him in the safe. We're going to put him in the safe. Let's take the gold coins out and put the baby in there, and then she puts the chair over top of it. Like, what the?
Let's suffocate this child.
And again, it's not a baby. It was a fake baby. It's a literal doll baby that you buy from the dollar store.
It really was. And I don't think, like, it even had ears. We got to call this.
It's bad. I wouldn't suggest it. At least Leprechaun's Game was fun. But that's going to do it for this episode of Horror Night Oasis for our St. Patrick's Day review. My God, help us if there's a sequel next year. But we'll review it. So anyway, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time on Horror Night Oasis.
Good night.